I can easily choose the most impressive highlights of my last visit to Utah. The very beautiful colors of Utah's rocks and nature, particularly in autumn. The colors of a land that will never stop to amaze. With a pack on my back and my camera on hand, I've hiked through a few national and state parks. To experience firsthand the incredibly rugged geography that early explorers, settlers and prospectors had to face and conquer. I've closely examined and touched the texture of the sandstone and felt the warm red rock in my hand. Utah's wild places still allow visitors to get a sense of what early pioneers faced in this desolate but wonderful land. I watched the colors and shapes of steep sandstone ledges change dramatically along the way. Laying down on hard, smooth rock surfaces and studied the countless hues. I've looked out over complex canyons, stately fins, wind-blown arches and rock bridges formed by erosion. I wandered down a remote, narrow canyon in Zion National Park. I have ascended almost vertical cliffs.
Wonderful, but I don't want to look down, I'm looking out.
I felt surrounded by the elements of earth, wind, water and ice that work together to create such an environment. To finally find my answer to the question, driving south of Salt Lake on the I-15, I could already focus on the early morning fog slowly rising from rivers, the brilliantly white frozen fences of large farmlands, the crystal clear reflections of the pavement range on the Scipio Lake that soon made me forget the long journey from Europe to Utah. I was entering again into a paradise for lovers of the outdoors. My first step was a scenic backcountry area in the Capitol Reef National Park that is called Cathedral Valley, a must-see for photographers. It is a remote, stark desert characterized by amazingly beautiful sandstone monoliths that some say resemble cathedrals. The remoteness of the area is a key attraction. One can find solitude here with little difficulty. The desert hillsides have been painted with a rainbow of colors, and strange rock formations appear at every turn. This massive sandstone monolith is called Temple of the Sun. A sandstone formation with a top harder layer and a softer surrounding rock material that has been eroded away. Along the same short side trail lies the sister formation called Temple of the Moon. The Glass Mountain is another interesting feature, a large block of translucent selenite crystals, a variety of gypsum, and close by the impressive and not highly photogenic gypsum sink hole, where the rock has collapsed over a dissolved gypsum plug.
One of my favorite places in Utah is the Water Park at Fold over near Capitol Reef National Park.
The Capitol Reef National Park is a giant wrinkle in the Earth's crust, stretching for 100 miles across south-central Utah. Created 65 million years ago, it preserves its spectacular eroded jumble of colorful cliffs, massive domes, soaring spires, stark monoliths, twisting canyons, and graceful arches. It's a place where Indians hunted and farmed for more than 1,000 years, and later Mormon pioneers settled to raise their families. It's an inspiration for poets, artists, photographers, and those who can enjoy the solitude and splendor of its vastness.
And it's beautiful because of the geology. You can see where the reef occurred geologically compared to the mesa tops and the buttes and the surrounding mountains.
At the end of the 19th century, Mormon settlers established small farms in the Capitol Reef, near the confluence of the Fremont and the Sulphur Creek rivers, and created the village of Junction, named and changed to Fruita. This is Fruita's old one-room school, where 26 students attended classes. It has been preserved as a sweet, nostalgic souvenir of past, simple, happy days. scenic Byway 12 travels through some of the most diverse, remote and ruggedly beautiful landscapes in America.
The most beautiful thing I've seen so far is actually this view right here. We were just coming up the road around the corner and in the trees. The trees were really beautiful, but we came just around a corner and just all of a sudden in a clearing and just saw this.
On the stretch from Torrey to Boulder, some interesting people can be met.
Hello, my name is Alina. I'm from Berlin, from Germany, and I'm here with my friend. We are making a long bicycle tour from Alaska to Argentina. I think it will take us 2 years. Yeah, and we may make it now because now we are young and now we can do it. And just to see the country, to meet people. Yeah, it's really nice. It's wonderful here.
I'm now entering the Escalante Grand Staircase National Monument. Another paradise for photographers, an area where pioneers try to discover routes through spectacular canyons and rivers, like the Hell's Backbone Road. I met Bob Stevenson, one of the dedicated rangers managing the area.
Dedicated to the understanding of the land, to study the land and learn how the land speaks to us, and then take our knowledge and apply that back to our management. We have a multiple use mission here. Many new discoveries are occurring here, from dinosaurs to new species of bees, and we hope to find new and smarter ways of managing the grazing.
Bob told me the story of the 250 Mormons who in 1879, with 82 wagons and hundreds of livestock, pioneered a 62 miles long trail called Hole in the Rock Road from Escalante to reach the Colorado River. Before advancing to the most difficult part of their journey, the pioneers stopped to relax and dance in front of this huge rock called Dance Hole Rock. The area is a labyrinth of desolate canyons, including slot canyons that sometimes consist of nothing more than narrow cracks cut by water through the sandstone, like this one called Spooky Gulch, that attracts many brave visitors, but it's also a real nightmare for those suffering of claustrophobia. Much less scary and still a very interesting sight is Devil's Garden, a fantastic collection of colorful petrified sand dunes and weirdly shaped monoliths.
Devil's Garden is just a beautiful spot. pictures done by nature are just phenomenal.
Devil's Garden is a paradise for photographers because of the interesting forms and shapes, shadows, curves. Golden, orange colors, so many interesting shapes of trees and grasses.
Unforgettable.
The US 12 stretch between Boulder and Escalante offers spectacular panoramas and follows a ridge that in some places is unbelievably narrow. The road was completed only in 1940 and was not completely paved until 1971. A few places are wide enough to provide pullouts. There are some great viewpoints with panoramas so vast that I didn't know which way to point my camera. The Escalante River flows far below in the canyon, and cottonwood trees grow along the river. Perhaps the best-known Escalante destination is
Calf Creek, which is a beautiful spot. It's very quiet and the creek has a beautiful sound. All night we slept listening to the creek and the stars were out and it was just very beautiful. It's very peaceful here.
the surrounding views, old Indian ruins and rock arts, and the 38-meter-high falls make the trail a special and somewhat romantic destination.
This canyon, the cliff walls, and the markings and the caves in and around them, and the stream.
It changes from season to season. We live locally and we hike this trail different times of the year. And this beautiful waterfall that we have here sometimes runs very heavy and sometimes slowly. But right now, with the leaves off the trees, there's more to see. But during the summer, this is covered and shady and cool. So it's a very beautiful place. There's birds, there's sounds, there's color. It's a wonderful place to be.
Having somehow filled up my car, I have now reached the Cannonville area. Where in 1949, a National Geographic expedition filmed the area's vivid colors using Kodak's film and then named it Kodachrome Basin. Several trails loop around beautiful rock formations, arches, and box canyons. The Angel Palace Trail is excellent for photographers, rises 46 meters above the basin floor and affords magnificent views of the basin and the surrounding area. And further south and along the beautiful Cottonwood Road, one of my favorite arches, the multiple Grosvenor Arch. Two million people from all over the world take delight in the sights of Bryce Canyon, which are as varied as the hoodoos, shapes and colors. "14 huge amphitheaters extending 1,000 feet down through the pink and white limestones of the plateau. I am in the most colorful national park in the world.
Bryce Canyon offers something that I don't ever see. I'm from Ohio and it's very flat. It's just amazing nature that I don't think you can get anywhere else in all the places I've been.
I followed the Navajo Loop, the Queen's Garden and the Rim Trails, and enjoyed the unique views and even had the extra luck to film Bryce whitened by the first seasonal snow. A Paiute Indian legend claimed that Bryce was built as a city for the people of the god Coyote, but the people made him angry and Coyote turned them to stone. They are still standing there, rows and rows of them.
This place is one of the most wonderful places I've ever been. It's just amazing. It's freezing, but it's just amazing. See yourself.
Before leaving Bryce, I want to explore also the short trail to the Mossy Cave near the village of Tropic and admire another interesting natural arch. The Zion-Mount Carmel Highway is the eastern entry to Zion National Park and was completed in 1930. I'm suddenly facing a colorful display of orange, brown and white slick rock that includes one of the park's landmarks, the Checkerboard Mesa, a majestic crisscrossed mountain that resembles a giant extended chess or checkerboard.
What intrigues me about this particular landscape is that it is corroded by nature, but it also follows a really interesting geometry that you don't see in other areas.
The Canyon Overlook Trail offers a spectacular view of Lower Zion and Pine Creek canyons.
We've actually been here for a few days, but getting to the canyon overlook is spectacular because we didn't have to walk 3,000 feet up, and we still got the incredible views of that height.
The Carmel Tunnel is the eastern entrance to Zion. When the geologist Clarence Dutton wrote in 1880 about the wondrous beauty of Zion, some refused to believe that such a place existed. But the massive, multicolored, vertical cliffs and deep canyons were and are real. Nature's ability to sculpt stone into fantastic forms reveals itself in full splendor. At the canyon's bottom flows the Virgin River. This small river almost single-handedly carved the profound rock gorge of Zion Canyon.
We're just getting ready to go hiking this river over here. The suit here is going to keep us dry. Our feet are going to get wet, but we have neoprene socks on, so hopefully they stay warm because the water is about 4 degrees.
This is called the Narrows. The canyon, as narrow as it is here, it gets down to about, let me think, what would it be? About 8 to 10 meters wide, and yet still this tall. And the only way to get through it is through the river. Sometimes it gets up this high, and it's from wall to wall, so you have to have a waterproof suit this time of year to stay warm and walk through it. And you need these sticks to keep your balance and to feel around so you don't hit something too deep and go in over your head. So, we've never done it before, but we're going to give it a shot.
We're here shooting the Watchman at sunset in Zion National Park.
The early morning fog of a November day is slowly lifting from the valley. From the first Indian legends about spirits living among the rocks, to the Mormons, who named after the Bible prominent landmarks, Zion has always been regarded as a sacred place devoted to God. It's time to take my camera to a mentally challenging hike.
I think if I could describe why I wanted to go up there, I would be a writer or a poet.
I think I want to go there because I can and I want to see it.
My brother and I are from out east, and we came out to Zion. We heard this was one of the most beautiful national parks in the country, and we've heard Angel's Landing is one of the neatest hikes and maybe one of the scariest. So.
The first section is fairly level and it follows the Virgin River. The trail then climbs 21 switchbacks called Walter's Wiggles. Having reached the top of a ridge called Scout Lookout, the views become more amazing.
I feel pretty good right now. I just made it up, part of the Angel's Landing. Not quite all the way, but part of the way. It's pretty exhilarating to be all the way up here. It kind of feels like you're on top of the world, looking around into all these deep canyons and not having any real boundaries except for your legs to hold you up here.
I can conquer anything above water. Taking my picture.
For the final half a mile, the trail follows the ridge across a saddle. This is where things get really steep, and big chains have been bolted to the cliff to provide secure handholds.
And I did, and I'm pretty tired.
I feel wonderful, but I don't want to look down. I'm looking out.
That when I reached my 85th birthday, I wanted to do that climb with her. So that's why I'm here. I'm doing this climb with my daughter.
While exploring Zion in 1916, Frederick Fisher exclaimed, "Only an angel could land on it." There is a part of Zion National Park that most people don't see, the Kolob Canyons. And yet, it is another beautiful area, cut from red sandstone and featuring towering sheer rock walls.
And it's incredible. It's unbelievable. It's like a cathedral.
We're glad we made it here because this was kind of the last stop in Zion.
Yeah, it's our last day, and it's gorgeous.
The 5 miles round trip along Taylor Creek leads to one of the enchanting Finger Canyons. The trail stays on the banks, close to the water, and crosses the stream bed more than 40 times.
Beautiful trail, nice cold sunny day today. Couldn't be better.
C'est très impressionnant de marcher dans un canyon comme ça. Et au bout, il y a un alcôve qui est un grand trou dans la roche. C'est très beau, très impressionnant. C'est démesurant.
Du lichen, une espèce de petite végétation qui est verdoyante, qui est très belle. Dans le fond, on a l'impression d'être dans l'immensité.
Ouais, on est très petit dans une immensité.
Oui, c'est vraiment ça.
C'est de toute beauté. Ça vaut la peine de se rendre au bout du canyon.
Oui.
Along the trail, there are 2 historical cabins built in the 1930s by early settlers. The highlight of the canyon is at the end, the double arch alcove, an extremely photogenic grotto with rounded, curved, color-stained walls.
It's mind-blowing, and it's really cool how your voice echoes all around. You say something and it brings it all the way around the cliffs, and it's very colorful with icicles.
Spectacular. Yeah, just the colors and the way the light glows in here is amazing. Very lucky to be here.
It is as if a giant has scooped out the side of a mountain. So, my 1800 miles trip to southern Utah was a true escape to the wild lands. I've seen splendid scenic mountain vistas and panoramas. I've hiked to the top of dangerous peaks overlooking fabulous canyons. I've driven across desolate areas. I've seen and understood the forces that have formed this unique and beautiful part of the world. I got a sense for the courage and the efforts spent by early pioneers to explore this desolate but wonderful land. Yes, for me, this land is really beautiful.